Hi there, my name is Beth MacDonald Stone, and I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer coming to you from Bermuda. I believe this is episode 9, pretty sure. Anyways, a lot of fun. Started doing this in September, and I'm really enjoying chatting with everyone, and the chats that we have in the comments after, always like amazing, so much fun. So thank you all for joining, and thank you all for contributing with your thoughts and notes and everything. I really appreciate it. It's really fun, and it's what everyone says, neat to build the community. Absolutely. And neat getting to know everyone, because as most people find, there's not always a great knitting community where you live. And quite honestly, I'm a solo knitter, so I love to I don't necessarily need a knit night or whatever, but it's great to find the community outside of that. Do you know what I mean? So I still chat with people, still chat with knitters, get to know knitters. There's not many on the island here in Bermuda, and it's all good. I can't multitask very well, so I can't knit and chat and hang out. And usually when I'm with people, the chatting takes over, so I can't knit. So who are we kidding? This is the best of both worlds, or of all worlds. So it's March, beginning of March. Can't believe it. The 2024 is flying by already. We're already, thinking about Easter and Easter breaks and the crunch stuff due for school before Easter and all that fun stuff for kids. January and February just flew by. So yeah. Right. Let's get into it. What I'm wearing in the pattern highlight for this week is the Tamarind sweater. So this is one version that I've knit, and a second one I've knit here. This is the first one I knit. This pattern will be published when you see this, and when the podcast is live, the pattern will be published on Ravelry. It's a really fun top down in the round sweater. I wanted a larger yoke. I'm finding I'm really gravitating to these larger yokes and these straight sleeves. Boxier fits in the midsection here. I'll just stand up. Boxier fits. I've got it tucked in a bit with a skirt, but contrasting hem, fun straight sleeve, contrasting colors. Same here. This is a higher contrast, obviously, with the dark green and pale blue, and then this is quite a low contrast, and I kind of like that. I like it all, and this is sort of the pink and red, which I think is really cool. So what have I used to knit these? And sorry, I've got fluff right up my nose. So the main texture for both of these is Dimond Laine or Lamb Kid. I'm not sure where Dimond Laine starts and Lamb Kid, how they blend, but whatever. Dimond Laine, Lamb Kid, Birdie. So the thinner of the two. There's Big Birdie and there's Birdie. And there might even be another Birdie coming in, but whatever. It's Birdie. So I think it's technically a lace weight, but it really knits up like much bigger sport or so. Oh, Luna says hi. She's in her seat watching the world go by. So and this one but I hold Birdie double with what I call my workhorse yarns, and I always have cones in a good variety of colors that I use to just add structure or fill in the blanks, like fill in the gaps. Or I love to knit on its own too. So I usually collect cones when they go on sale at Holst, so the Holst Garn Supersoft, or I love Jameson. There must be a lot of activity on the street. Jameson and Smith, love that 4-ply jumper weight, or that kind of, or woolly knit British thing. I've used it here. Woolyknit 4-ply British 4-ply. Woolyknit British 4-ply. Love that too. So, I'd kind of like to have a good color palette in the cones to use with what I would call the sort of the yarn that adds the special sauce. So here we've got Dimond Laine Birdie with either super soft or Woolyknit 4-ply. So in this one I've got Birdie color, and I can't remember name, so bear with me here. So I've got it all written in front of me. Bell bottom blues held together with super soft cool, which together combined gives a really interesting color. You know what? Hold on one second, and I don't know why I didn't bring those cones over. I thought I was organized, but evidently not as much as I thought. So unfortunately, I used up every single bit of the bell bottom blues, but this is what I held it with. And the bell bottom blues is a blue that is a little bit more on the gray, clear blue. And they together made this really interesting turquoisey color. So this is the Holst Supersoft in cool. So that's that one. I'll just put it over here. And then if I close the door, she'll just cry at the door. So sorry. Anyway, so this is Holst Supersoft color dark olive. I think it's looking very brown. Everyone says that this looks very brown. And I'm holding it with Dimond Laine Birdie in the color Loam. So those are my two contrasting colors, and they work out beautifully too. I'm really, really pleased with this. I'm really into dark greens, like camo kind of greens, and mixing it with other colors. I'm really drawn to that right now. I can't get enough. Anyways, and so for this one here, I have used Dimond Laine Birdie in Pop Rocks with this amazing color here from Woolyknit 4-ply called Fandango, I think. Sorry. Fandango Pink. I mean, what a fun color combination. I've used this a lot. The Woolyknit had some really fun, like amazing hot pink and an amazing like pylon cone color orange. So yeah, so that and that. Complementing the Dimond Laine Birdie in the Plaid is my favorite color, and Holst Garn Supersoft in Brandy. So that made these colors of a very low contrast. I'm really pleased with both the sweaters. It's been test knit, it's been tech edited, test knit, and everything like that. All the test knitters really loved knitting the pattern. It is really fun. It's a really nice stitch gauge. I think it's like 19 stitches by 24 rows in stockinette. So it's a really nice, it really moves quickly. In fact, I really found the sleeves moved quickly. It was interesting. I could very comfortably do one a day, which I loved. But because I'm kind of I feel like I'm a bit under crunch right now at the end of winter, and I've got so many ideas and stuff. And then other designs are kind of going, which the Bermy Basics, which I'll talk more about. But I just sort of feel like I'm kind of on deadline, so I've got daily kind of targets every day. And I was really happy to knit this one with a bit of a time crunch, and it was really fun. Better not to knit anything with a time crunch, quite honestly, but whatever, needs must. Really fun. Tamarind tree is another sort of tree here in Bermuda. It's not endemic at all. I think it's endemic to Eurasia. But it's a beautiful big tree with gourds hanging from it. And so I just sort of thought these were sort of like the gourds. There's kind of, involuntarily, I'm kind of doing a gourd collection with the calabash, and I think there's going to be a loquat and everything like that. Well, it's not really a gourd, but whatever. So yeah, Tamarind. 2 colors. I've had one test knitter do it with 3, so she put a 3rd color in the little droplets, and that looked amazing too. I was super tempted to do that on this one, but I thought no, keep it simple and keep it to the pattern. Top down in the round, seamless, holding 2 strands together at all times, and then color work. Again, only 2 colors at any time. Yeah, it's great. Do take a look at what the test knitters knit, because like everything, different colors look so different. But I really thought this was really cool. Especially there was some people that had like marled yarn for the main color here, and then sort of more solid colors for the contrast color, and that was really cool too. So yeah, it's a fun one, a really fun addictive knit, quick knit, and really easy to wear. I'm traveling in a couple weeks, and I definitely want to pack this because I think it's light as a feather. So again, it'll pack into nothing, which is kind of my criteria. And it's fun and it's stylish, and yeah, and I can wear my scarves with it. So yeah, love it. What else to say about that? Pattern will be up with all my patterns when I put them up on Ravelry the first week. There's a 20% discount, so take advantage of that. I'll mark exactly when that discount ends. It's usually exactly from date to date of, you know, so I think I'm going to publish it tomorrow, either tonight, Wednesday night, or Thursday morning, the 6th or the 7th of March, and then so it'll be exactly 7 days later that it'll end that discount cycle. So that'll all be on the pattern notes. Yeah, and I'm also when I'm publishing patterns, I'm trying to also remember, and if I don't, please let me know, to include the schematic as one of the photos, because I think that's really helpful, and not everyone does it. Cool, no big deal. But I do think it's really helpful when you're sort of looking at a sweater and just sort of seeing what the different shapes are and stuff like that. So hopefully you'll find with all my patterns, the ones that have been more recently published, a schematic in the photo section. And if for whatever reason you look at a pattern and you'd like to see the schematic too, just let me know and I can add it to the Ravelry pattern page. I think it's really handy when you're trying to decide if it's the right garment for you. Anyways, so that's that. So the Tamarind sweater, very exciting, really fun knit, really great. I hope you love it too. And check out all the test knitters, really amazing. So that's kind of what's off my needles, which is this and the pattern highlight. And so really moving on quite quickly to what I'm working on. Still working on this vanilla socks. I got to finish them, but there's no pressure. It's just one of those things where it's just going to take me a bit of mental effort to figure out the length and putting in the toe. But I really am, like I said, feeling like I am focused on some deadline knits right now, and it's not a high priority, but just having I'm not a multiple of 3 or 4 projects at a time. I don't usually have any more than that, and actually 3 or 4 is a lot for me. So just knowing that I've got these socks that are just sitting there and have been since I was at Vogue Knitting, it kind of is strange for me. So I will finish them, and it's funny, it'll probably stay on the list until I'm done finishing them. So I'll tell you when that happens and show them to you. That's again the Woolens and Nosh Advent Skein. I do have them down here. The Woolens and Nosh Advent Skeins are so great. So and so much fun. So you can see I am really done. I just need to, they're both at the exact same spot. They're both fantastic. And I just have to put in the toes. I've got the little nuggets of the contrasting color, and I think I need to add a bit of length. This is the second project I've made from the Advent Skein. The first one I did was fingerless mitts, because I was doing the socks in the pattern, but I didn't realize I was really yucking the yarn and really tense, so they were really narrow and I couldn't get them on my feet. But they made the best fingerless mitts. So I made these really long fingerless mitts, which were fantastic for when the temperatures dropped after Vogue Knitting when I was in New York. Yeah, and then it keeps your fingers free to text or get in and out of the subway or whatever you're doing. Anyway, so that's that. So that I will finish soon. The other one that I'm working on that I think is really fun, and I have put a bit of work into it. Where should I put this? I'll put it here. Is my sort of working the Spanish moss sweater design or tunic. I'm gonna put it on the mannequin to show you. And yeah, so this is just a total scrap project. You can see some of the scraps or some of the tails are still coming at the top. I want it to be long for a tunic. I like the idea of having, excuse me, something to wear with a shirt and leggings or just leggings or whatever. So the length is really important to me, and I also want to add a large amount of rib at the bottom, and I would love it to be a split hem. Oh, sorry. I'd love it to be a split hem, but because it's a scrap project and it's sort of being blended, so there's 2 strands of scrap fingering held with 1 strand of mohair, and I've put them in these little bags because I was finding they were getting really knotted. So I've got, you know, the 3 current I'm working on are I have no idea what they are. I mean, this is all old scraps that I've just sort of put together, except for I know this is the Ito Sensei, the dark olive color. So that's the one yarn that's gone right through. So I'm having them in 3 separate Ziploc bags because they were totally getting tangled together. And with having a split hem, I think it takes away the joy of scraps. It's just more like weighing and stuff like that, what you're doing for the sleeves to keep so that you have roughly, I mean, again, I'm not into perfection, and I, you know, if you are, great, not me. So I'm roughly trying to keep scraps and enough scraps to help with the sleeves, but I don't want to do that for the hem too. So my idea maybe is to do it in the 1x1 round, 1x1 rib around and around. Sorry, I think my phone's beeping and I'm not sure why. Oh, nothing, it's fine. 1x1 around and around. And then I'm even thinking of like doing a rough steek up the side with maybe a really fun contrast thread from a sewing machine up the side, and then cut it, and then having it even raw for a split hem, because I feel that a scrap project can be a bit more textural. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be perfect. It shouldn't be, you know, the finish work. Having an edgy little bit of finish work could be actually really fun. So anyways, I got this far. There's a lot of increases in the body because I want it just to be super flattering and really comfortable and not straight. We all have hips and waists, and I have a tummy. So I want it to be, you know, really easygoing. And then I'm pretty shortly, I should say, that I will be starting on a 5-inch 1x1 ribbed hem, which, like I said, might have a really crude cut in side, so side splits, and I think that could actually be really fun and kind of groovy looking. It's a shame you have to knit so far and then you commit and then you do it and you're like, nee. So we'll see. I'm not great with a sewing machine, and I don't know what, you know, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm mulling about in my brain right now. We'll see when we get there. The other fun thing with this, I've put in, I like wearing scarves. I also liked, because it's top down and it's a scrap project, structurally, it would have been better to start here, knit down, and then add a turtleneck up. It would keep its shape at the neck. And you can see, actually, I think, speaking of keeping it shape, I think the hangers are doing a bit of a problem with my shoulders, but I really like the things hanging. Anyway, so that's what is happening here. I think the hangers are showing. Anyways, so back to this. So structurally, that would make more sense, and it would sit. It wouldn't slip over time. Because it's, again, a scrap project, and you want to go in the round and just down, 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 so you get that really sort of lovely fading, marling, everything like that. I didn't want to do that. And I love wearing scarves, so I put in 6 little sort of buttonholes around to thread a scarf through. That's what that's showing there. And then, so it's pretty, it's interesting. You could even do like a bandana coming out the back, whatever, use however many holes needed, and roll the collar over. So while it's kind of a really simple construction, there's the 2 details that I think will make it kind of special, which is the scarf allocation, and I think the split hem, the intentionally crudely split hem, I think would be really fun. Kind of like, you know, intentionally kind of groovy ripped jeans. I always really liked that look. You know, I find if things look too perfect, I feel not myself. So having a little like rough edge or something I think would make it interesting. Anyways, so that is the new version of the Spanish Moss Tunic. And I did have another Spanish Moss Tunic design out, which I've kind of, you might see a placeholder on Ravelry. I tried to take it down. You can't take things down off of Ravelry, or I've tried and maybe I haven't figured it out. But I had a vision, and I didn't really think, you know, in hindsight, that my first attempt, the vision was done well, or, you know, fully expressed. So that's why I'm doing there'll be a revised version. And when that goes up, you know, of course I'll let you know. And it'll have the same name, but it's the same expression, different pattern. You know, I think the first one was sort of published maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I think I've developed a lot more since then, and what I want to say. So I'm excited about that. I need to get working on that. That one is really, you have to sort of be sat somewhere, because I've got, you know, you have to have a scale out, or I do, because I'm trying to make sure I have a basic understanding of how much yarn. So like I'm keeping notes on weights of yarn that I'm using. And I think the first time I showed this tray to you, it was full. Whoop. Now it's down to the last third of the colorways. So we're definitely getting there. I just need to sort of finish it up and do the sleeves. But this is one that is not a crunch, like time-wise. I don't feel it's a crunch one at all. And this one might just be a project that I work on for even another month or so, which is very unlike me. But I'm just letting this develop as it develops and not feeling stressed about it. Except the one problem is, by having the trays around and the bag and everything, it's one of those ones that just sort of creates a lot of clutter and mental clutter, because trying to make the fading pretty, which I think it is, and I wouldn't say mental clutter. Picking colors and yarns and stuff like that, and is one of my favorite parts of knitting. So it's not mental clutter as in baggage, unlike unnecessary or unwanted. It's part of the joy for me, but I don't feel I need to race through it. So you'll see a lot of this. It's kind of cool, I think. I hope you do too. And I hope it doesn't bore you, but anyways. The one that I'm just started because I was fooling around with, I love the idea of traveling stitches. And a couple of years ago, I took an amazing class by a fella named Andre from Portugal. Yeah, it was when we were during COVID, and I did a lot of the Vogue knitting online classes, and Andre from Portugal taught me also Portuguese knitting, but he did a class or two on traveling stitches, and I found that a really, really exciting way of knitting and thinking of putting pattern in knitting, and I found it really mentally straightforward. So I don't really know exactly what made me think of this pattern, but I just was sort of playing around and started with I'm trying to get it so that doesn't create a huge shadow. Started with a small triangle or diamond, and wondered if I could grow that diamond to grow with the yoke shaping. And I drew it out and it totally worked, and it was and then it's really fun because it's just, I don't have a lot of purl stitches in there, or I don't have any, except of course in the rib, but I wonder if I might have another thing so that I can put this on to show you it wider. I have a ton of these, the sort of pony string that I bought off of Amazon years and years and years ago, and I have a huge jar of it. Really helpful. Just like the barber cords, it's the same concept. Fraction of the price, and you get an absolute ton of them. Oh boy. The last thing I want to do is pop this off because I just did an increase round the round before, so I might just call it there. But you can see how attractive that is. Well, I think. So you've got a nice deep collar with the short rows in the collar, and then this traveling stitch pattern that grows with the pattern. I'm not going to do all over in this diamond shape because I really like I really like a section on just stockinette, and then I also with this I do want to do a really deep split hem, so it'll be boxy, straight sleeves, split hem, deep split hem, a little bit of stockinette around the midsection. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, this yarn, actually, I'll show you what I started out. This was my first, so what I'm talking about when I just was developing it and drawing out the chart. That's what I did. It's really pretty, and this has been blocked, and it's just so lovely and drapey. This is Mota from WoolDreamers, and this is the color 718G. And it's funny, I had 2 balls of this, and I had 5 balls of the other colorway, which is 201, which is this sort of gray. And I had 2 balls of this, which is the 718G. And I just held this with a scrap of mohair, and I really like this. So I might have to knit this twice and order more of this Mota yarn, because I think that's really pretty. But I'm definitely going through, while I'm going through this sort of dark green phase, an olive green phase, I'm also kind of going through turquoise phase, or teal, turquoise to teal, right to sort of petrol blue. Anyways, so that's really, really pretty, and when it's blocked, it's really, really dreamy. So that will be, blocked and shimmery. So here I'm holding the Mota in the gray color, and I'm also holding with it the Ito Sensei in the goat color, which I think is such a really interesting color. It's sort of gray and brown and purple and pink and really interesting. And what I like that it offers, the mohair, I mean, here it really shows, because I think the scrap of mohair I had for this was a hedgehog. I think it was a bit longer of a fuzz than the Ito Sensei. The Ito Sensei I really like, because if you can see a bit of this sort of silk coming through. And again, I think it'll add a little drape and a little structure too, for duration. But I'm calling this Glimmerview, and I feel like the mohair and the Ito Sensei sort of adds that sort of sheen to the traveling stitch. And the traveling stitch motif for me, my inspiration was, this sort of gentle ripples on water. So, so Glimmerview. I'm really excited about that. Again, I really love top down in the round seamless constructions. They really fit me well. I find they're fun to knit. I like knits that are really fun. With a bit of engaging, but not too much. I like to daydream. On that sweater, this yoke has taken me longer than I had budgeted, because I do like to work with a time idea, because I was totally daydreaming, and I'd worked my way up to about there, and I didn't realize, but I'd missed like 2 rows around here, so I had to go all the way back down. But no worries, it's all part of the process, and tells me not to daydream too much. A bit's pretty good though. Anyways, with this pattern though, the neat thing is if you don't daydream completely, your traveling stitches are really obvious. So there's a chart, and that's very straightforward. But you also can sort of watch where you are, and you can see where you should be turning and twisting, so that these lines do go in the right direction. So it's actually really straightforward, but I don't know. I must have been really lost in thought or something. So that took a little longer than I had meant for it to. And then the fourth thing on my needles right now, excuse my chair, is the Bermy Basic in the 14. And it doesn't look like much. I literally just split for sleeves last night. That was my goal for last night. And then now I think my goal is to knit 2 inches a day on the body. And this is lovely. This is a long time ago I bought Big Birdie. I love the Lamb Kid yarns, and I really am drawn to these sort of what's the word? Alpaca, sorry. But I was thinking it has sort of a flocked texture, a very matte flocked texture. So similar to this, like I love how it knits together. And I don't mean that literally like knits together, but how it blends together laterally, you know, in the work. I love how light as a feather this is. And I'm knitting a size larger than I usually do, because I just think, again, this would be just such a lovely sort of schlumpy, baggy, easy, sort of sloppy, cozy sweater to wear. So so the Bermy Basic concept is, and if you've been here for the beginning and you're sick of hearing this, I'm really sorry. But it's something that I've been working on for about 2 years, maybe 2.5 now, since I've been saying that this whole time. And the concept is to have a really simple sweater design that is stylish and flattering and something that you like, the bare bones of. And it'll be published at every stitch gauge from 12 stitches per 4 inches all the way up to 28 stitches per 4 inches, in 2 stitch increments, so 12, 14, 16, 18, on and on. We've published 2 already, so that's the 18 and 24, and I think that was published after the last, or around the time of the last podcast, so 2 weeks ago. That's been hugely so well received, so thank you so much for showing interest in that. So that's the 18 and 24. I'm really excited to say that I have had that translated from, or a lady so kindly, one of my test knitters who's wonderful, so kindly offered to translate that to French and to Portuguese. And so I'll get that up as soon as I can. It's been a kind of a mental few days, but I'm so excited to have that in French and Portuguese. So hopefully by the end of the week or early next week, I'll get that up on as options on Ravelry for everyone. And then right now in testing, we have the 14, which I'm frantically knitting, and the 20, which I've knit before, and the 20 is right here. I knit this one using the Hedgehog Fibers Tweedy, and I love this one. So that's a Burmy Basic 20. Really neat. The 24 is this one, which I wear these almost nonstop, and actually they're the best for traveling with too, because they're great, light, layer so beautifully. Yeah, I have a ton of them. The 18 is, the 18 is right here. So this one was published already. And this is amazing too. And I'm not telling you what they are made out of. So this is Fashion School Dropout in her boucle yarn. That's my 18. I have knit the 26 out of Townhouse Yarns, really fun, and I did contrasting cuffs. Like I said, the 20 was out of Hedgehog Fibers Tweedy, and my 14 that I'm knitting right now is Big Birdie in Peanut, and the 24 is in the La Bien-Aimée Felix held double. So yeah, it's a fun staple. That's the concept of this pattern, so that in effect you'll have a basic pattern for any stitch gauge effectively, and within that you can modify it. So you can change the collar, change the cuffs, change the length of the hem, change the ribbing entirely, stick between something that's divisible in the pattern. Basically it's divisible by 4, but you could change it up again too, to whatever. You could add color work, you could add different increases. So some people have done yarn over increases, so there's a little lace effect in the yoke. You could add color. One test knitter has had a little Peary color work on it. amazing. You know, multiple colors, stripes is another one that there's been a lot of test knits using that. But I mean, you just use it as your base and go from there. So 14 and 20 will be published in 2 weeks, so probably around the time of the next podcast. And then I'll be testing the 16, 28. This is my 28 here. And that's really fun. That's from Cocon. Yellow color fingering weight yarn. I love this one. That's so much fun. Yeah, so that'll be in the next testing call out, which I'm hoping to get people in about 2 weeks. I'll send a call out for that. And if you would like to test the 16, 28, or 12, those are all the gauges. So 16 stitches per 4 inches, 28, which is as fine as it's going to go. So one of the really nice fingering weight. That's the, you know, I might in the future go to 30 stitch or whatever, 32, but at this point I'm going to stop it at 28. And 12, which is going to be the largest gauge that I'm going to stop it at too. So, you know, if you wish to test knit this, because I'm a bit worried that my test knitters, while they seem still absolutely thrilled and excited, they get the idea, you know. Anyways, so please email me. My email's, you know, written below with all of the other notes for what I'm talking with you today, right down below here. Send me an email and we'll go with that. Also in testing right now, something different, not Bermy Basic, is my first, I don't know how many summer knits I'll have this year, but this is the one that I knit last spring for the summer, and I'm only just getting around to publishing it now, and this is called the Mid-Ocean Tea, and that's in testing now. So that test is closed, and that will hopefully come out in mid-April. So I'm really excited with that. This is really one that I enjoy wearing a lot too. So excited to get that out. And it is interesting. Some designs come from concept to publication very quickly, and some take like a year. I think it's also time of year. So, you know, maybe the Glimmerview, I'm not sure when I'll publish that, whether it'll be this spring or whether it'll be next fall, I'm not sure. But we're sort of getting into that no man land of summer heat and stuff like that for the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, so that's kind of everything that's going on. I'm still really excited to cast on the Era sweater by Ito Knits. I know we talked about it last time, and everyone was totally right. Like, that dark blue color was not right, and the texture of the yarn wasn't right either, so excuse the crinkling. But I did order, whoop, there's two more of the, I had to order more of the Ito Sensei there for the for this sweater. But so of course that was an excuse. I was like, oh, I can order then something for the Era sweater. So I've ordered a sweater quantity of Issachar Eco Soft in the natural color and also in the pale gray color. So one of those I'll do. I'm leaning towards the pale gray, just because it'll match my hair. Yeah, and then my one question is, while I'm traveling, is that a good knit to travel with? Because I think it'd be really fun. I don't like to travel with anything that I'm working on design-wise, because I just making notes and keeping my thoughts and stuff like that is too much. But is the chart with cables too much too? Like, is that the other end of the too much? Do I take like just a more simple project? Curious what your thoughts are. Please let me know. So at least I've sort of gotten closer to the yarn. I think it'd be really fun. And I think, you know, endless stocking it on an airplane or train or something like that is great. But I go right to sleep. So maybe something with a chart would be better to, you know, hold my attention. Anyways, what do you think? What do you guys take on when you're traveling? I would take a sock, but I don't really need any more socks. Speaking of socks, that sock book from the Sock Project by Summer Lee Knits, it was amazing. I'd highly recommend that book. And her podcast too, totally amazing. I might have mentioned it last episode, but I've binged all of her podcasts and really enjoying her book. And I'm not really a sock knitter, so, and I have no need really for socks, but it's fantastic. My husband's in my office raiding the chocolate container. I see you. Anyways, totally teasing him. So that's kind of everything. I think this will be a shorter episode. Nothing really happening in life stuff, just the kids got lots of schoolwork, and winter colds are going around our household, and my husband's taking the chocolate and going. He's got some crunch things due that I think I'm tenfold more stressed out about than my son in school before we go away on Easter break. We've got a great trip coming up. It'll just be my son and I. Pre-pandemic, we used to do great mummy-son trips every year with a lot of emphasis on museums and tours and stuff like that. So emphasis on education. We're doing that again now. This time we're going to Germany, Munich, and Berlin. So really excited about that. If there's any knitting stores that I should be checking out in Munich or Berlin, that'd be great. But I'll probably ask the same thing. I think I'll have one more podcast before we go, and I think I'll be totally excited then. But, I think there's quite a few knitting stores in Berlin, but I didn't see many in Munich. But if I'm wrong, please also let me know. That's really exciting. And in Bermuda right now, what's going on? It's quiet. You can tell that we're getting away from the crazy windy, wet winter weather and into spring. It gets quite warm in the sun. Chilly still in the house, so I'm quite comfortable wearing a sweater indoors. But if I were to go out for a walk, a walk in the sun, a t-shirt would be, or a long sleeve shirt would be absolutely sufficient. So that's really nice. And with that comes beautiful spring flowers. So right now, the freesias are everywhere, and freesias are beautiful little flowers. They're very highly scented in a very pleasant way, and they grow in grass. So when you're out walking, there's a lot of people that'll have their grass will be just their front lawn will be covered in freesias, and you can smell it too. It's really beautiful. So I love this time of year in Bermuda for that. Also, it's loquat season, so loquats are like a little sort of, why can I not get their orientation right? They're like sort of oval, teeny little oval fruit with a big pit in the middle, and grow from pretty trees, lovely green long leaves like that. You can walk. I walk the dog and I have some loquats while I'm walking. They're just everywhere, smushed on the ground too. So it's loquat season and freesia season, which then will soon get into Easter lily season, and that's really interesting, and I'll hopefully tell you more about the Easter lilies probably around the next podcast, because Bermuda has a long history in Easter lilies and exportation of them and growing them. But anyways, so I'm going to leave you now with photos and videos of freesias. I think there's some nasturtiums in there too. Freesias primarily, and loquats. And I wish you all a very great day. Happy knitting. I hope spring is in your neck of the woods as well, or fall if you're in the southern hemisphere, and that you have lots of time to enjoy your creativity and your knits. So thanks so much. Until next time, bye.